Across the country, joining us from Normal, Illinois. This is Bob Rathman along with Jim Gibbons with the Missouri Valley Conference Game of the Week. Evansville and Illinois State tied at 8. Just underway in our first half. Smiley against Richardson. Nearly lost it. Here's Muller over to Trotter. Driving hard to the baseline. And a blocking foul. This one against Hollander, and it will be the second on Chris.
That, Bob, is one of the better moves that I've seen Mo Trotter make. He doesn't create many shots for himself. Look at, he had the step. Boy, he really went to the basket that time as well as I've seen him go all year. No question about the call, the same as the last one, only the last one went against them.
Tied at 8. Here's Smiley over to Trotter. Tough shot, hit it.
Illinois State with Pearson in there, Bob, has got a much bigger lineup than Evansville now because they got all their big men in the game.
And we've got a foul call. This one will go against Jeff Layden, pushing off against Leroy Watkins inside.
Eric Harmon got him with the illegal block. And that's the one thing that Jim Cruz is worried about because they're not setting good screens and they're not reading well and they're not getting enough touches and the offense just isn't working.
Smiley, and that's a double dribble.
Yeah. See, that is a very good call by Ron Grissom. And you know why, Bob, because he slipped to the floor with the ball and the ball bounced off the floor to begin with. Watch now. He's going to slip to the floor. Bing, there's the dribble. Now he's going to get up and he's going to put the ball back on the floor. That's a terrific call. Right in front of him, but, you know, a lot of times those are the ones you miss.
The fourth Illinois State turnover here in this first half. Here's Wilson. Nice bounce on the baseline, and Morales will go to the line.
Very good by Marcus Wilson. I've been watching him because that young man has got to score for them, Bob. Obviously, he's their leading scorer. He's been doing a great job for them in the last 4 games, averaging over 21 points. He has got to score, but that time he created something by drawing the defense in that little bounce pass. He did a nice job of reading and bouncing it off.
The redshirt freshman from Spain has really struggled at the foul line. He's 7 for 34 now this season.
You have heard me talk about smart players. They look at the flow of the game and they read everything and they see everything and they understand it, Bob. But here, everybody looks, but very few see what is going on at any given moment. That's the problem. That's the way you get your offense in gear, and that was a perfect example of it. He saw it, he read it, and he executed.
10-9, Redbirds by 1. They bring Trotter across. Half a dozen screens,
whoa,
it seemed.
Did they ever?
Hill's tip goes in. Rico's second bucket, 12-9, Redbirds.
Notice everything for Illinois State has been inside so far, hasn't it?
And meanwhile, Evansville's having a tough time getting it inside. Morales out to Wilson.
Trotter on Wilson.
Farley up with the right hand, in and out. Long tip, Smiley can't get it. The ball belongs to Illinois State. Coming back in for the Redbirds is Kenny Wright, and going out is Rico Hill.
Kevin is shuffling those big men, and I still think it's a tough matchup for Evansville. I really do. Now, it's also tough on the other end, as we said before, Bob, because the Evansville people move out on the floor and spread you out, and sometimes when Layden isn't in their play with that open middle, and it's tough for Illinois State to match up. That's a better matchup for Farley with Pearson. He was on Trotter before.
Trotter. And the rebound comes to Marcus Wilson. Up ahead, Morales. Nice catch, and he put it in. Boy, that was a nice grab by Morales on the run.
Well, the couple of games I've seen him, you better get back in transition defensively because that's where he gets a number of his buckets, and he did that time.
Smiley for 3. Hollander runs it down.
They're going to give that shot to Jamar, Bob, until he makes them believe that he can make it.
Farley, and he's got a travel called against him. Antonio Cooper checking in in now for Illinois State. Mo Trotter will go out of the game.
Yep. And that's exactly what Kevin said. Mo is going to play more minutes. If Evansville sags on people, which they're doing on Smiley, he said then Cooper's going to be in this game, and he's coming off of a 21-point game off of the bench against Drake on Wednesday, hit 7 of 13 three-pointers. He can fire. He is a great shooter. See, they're not going to. There's no way they're going to guard out on that part of the floor.
Right. Smiley. Watkins. Kenny Wright crashing, hits the deck, and that's an automatic travel. 11:39 remaining in this first half, and we've got a one-point ball game as we step aside. It's Illinois State 12 and Evansville 11. We'll continue in a moment.
Boy, now here is great. Watch this defense now. Smiley's going to drive. Usually Richardson would come over and help, Bob, but he's not going to. Why? Because if he does, they pop it right out, which they do here, right to Cooper, and there's Richardson right in a position to take that three-point shot away from him. That's pretty good recognition.
And it's interesting to note that Evansville would play that way to start the game. They're not going to wait for Illinois State to hit a few and then get him into the defense.
Hey, the one thing Jim Cruz kept saying at the shootout was, we are not going to foul Smiley. At least I was high enough up that I'm not sure I heard everything, but that I think I heard. And we are going to get out beyond that three-point line, and we're not going to give them those three-point shots. Not when they hit a record 17. And they took 31 shots the other night, 31 three-point shots.
Hollander taking a two-point shot. Here's a kid who hits 48% of his threes in Valley play.
Hasn't been scoring a lot lately, but he was on fire the one game that I had him earlier in the year. He had a big day, and so did Morales at Southern Illinois.
Evansville has hit but one three-pointer tonight, yet they've taken the lead. Cooper off the screen. And Hollander with the push as Pearson claimed the rebound. And for Chris, that's his third foul.
And that's his fault, Bob. You can't score at one end and come down and not box out. Now watch, he gets himself pushed right under. Now Pearson is an unbelievable, phenomenal leaper, but watch where Hollander is. He should have let Pearson just take himself right out of bounds, Bob, right? He should have just ridden right with him and let him go. And there's no way that Pearson could have gotten his hand on that rebound. That's a big third foul.
I guess so, with 11:01 remaining in the first half. Justin Farley comes in to take his place. Cooper for three. And Morales jumps in to claim the rebound. Evansville leading by one.
Well, they are in Wilson's numbers. He hasn't gotten a look at the basket yet.
And we've got a foul called on Layden as he threw an elbow trying to free himself from Kenny Wright.
Kenny Wright was doing a nice job of defense. And boy, Ron Grissom was right there. You watch. See, he's got the elbow up against his chest. You cannot do that. You can't keep a man off that way. That's what you call cleaning up that play inside in the post.
13-12, Evansville. Trotter moves inside the ring, leaves it short, and Evansville trying to get something in transition, but Illinois State's got that covered too. Layden, and that's a travel. Lifting that pivot foot before starting the dribble.
Tell you one thing, Evansville better start fighting its way, doing a better job of fighting its way through the screens. I mean, Illinois State is putting on a ton of screens, every kind of screen imaginable, and they're getting some pretty good looks at the basket. They just haven't canned some of them.
Well, the one thing about it, Evansville ought to be pretty good at it from their own practices.
Right.
Here's Trotter for three. His first of the ball game, Mo with 5. 15-13, Illinois State. Richardson pumps it home. Kareem's first bucket of the game. He averages 9 a contest. Tied at 15.
I tell you, when Wright and Watkins and Hill, well, that's an illegal block right there. That's a good call. When they put on screens, you know you've been screened. That's one that Ed Schumer caught.
First foul on Rico Hill will give Evansville the basketball.
Redbird 17 foul that puts Illinois State over the limit.
At National Rental, you'll get weekend rates so low that every weekend is a national holiday. National features vehicles from compact to luxury cars, as well as minivans. National is the official car rental of the Missouri Valley Conference and the NCAA. Call National today at 1-800-CAR-RENT and start your national holiday.
The one thing that Jim Cruz just did is he called Marcus Wilson over, and I'm not sure what he had to say to him, but what I'm sensing is that he's letting them run himself out of his comfort zone. You know, they're just pushing him further out on the floor, Bob, and he's not getting anything. And you've heard me say before, a lot of times when that happens to players, and he's only a freshman, they run around without a purpose. You're running all over the place, but you're not accomplishing anything. You have to set yourself up and have a purpose to every move you make.
Richardson goes 2 for 2 at the line. Kareem with 4. And Evansville leads by 2 at 17-15. Stuart Sullivan back in. Here comes Mo Trotter bringing it up for Illinois State. Right. And that is going to be a blocking foul on Morales. His first. 16 fouls on Evansville, so Illinois State will take it out of bounds.
That's his first.
The amazing thing about that sequence was Antonio, my coop man, put about 3 different screens on. He was screening everybody that was moving.
Trotter driving, scoring. Well, he does it inside, he does it outside.
That's what's so tough about him, but he's doing a lot better job of putting the basketball on the floor and doing it inside than I've seen him do in a while.
This one blocked, picked up by Evansville. Wilson gets it out to Sullivan. Back to Farley.
See, they're in too much of a hurry. They're just in too much of a hurry.
Sullivan got it inside, and Morales banks it in.
That, my friend, is pretty good recognition. They were almost playing out of control.
19-17, Evansville by 2.
Boy, Layden's doing a good job right down there against Hill. He forced him way out on that block.
And a dangerous bounce pass by Muller, picked off. Wilson underneath, and Morales angles it in. 2 nice passes inside to Morales.
You aren't going to believe it, but defensively that was a great move, because I swear to you, Evansville worked on that very play of Illinois State on that bounce pass, and they rotated and got it.
Contact and no whistle. Both coaches screaming for a foul. Wilson from the corner, he got hit on the arm, and that's going to be 3 free throws coming up for Wilson.
Oh,
Trotter's second.
You know what they say, run out at that man, you know, and flash and do everything you can, but don't you dare touch him when he's taking that 3-point shot.
And one of the Valley's best free throw shooters to the line, Jamar Smiley, coming in for Cooper. And also coming in is Kyle Cardwell, and he'll come in for Mo Trotter.
He replaces Mo Trotter.
So Marcus Wilson to the foul line, 86% overall and 88.5 in the Valley.
3 shots.
As active as he has only shot 64 coming into this game. Now, that'll improve, you know, as he gets to be a sophomore and a junior and a senior. He's going to create a lot more. But, boy, he's got a great future, doesn't he?
I should say so. Out of South Bend, Indiana, the youngest of 15 children. Isn't that something?
South Bend Riley High School.
Well, when the dinner bell rings, you better get to the table fast.
You bet.
Wilson trying to go 3 for 3 at the line. And we've got a lane violation against Illinois State. It is waved off because Wilson hit the free throw, and we've got a timeout on the floor. 7:54 left in our first half. Evansville now enjoys a 7-point lead. 24 and Illinois State 17. One of the great keys to defense is anticipation.
He put it on the floor. Look at now. See the rotation? That is really terrific again by Richardson. As soon as he put that ball on the floor and the defense rotated, he was right in a position to get that pass. That was pretty good recognition.
And this is what happened at the other end. Morales getting a nice feed from Wilson. Evansville's putting a nice little run together. 11-2.
Not doing a bad job at the free throw line, Bob. Illinois State hasn't been there, haven't made one. Evansville is 7 for 9.
And that's an amazing note because as physical as it's been and as much as Illinois State's put it on the floor and going hard to the basket, they have yet to go to the foul line.
Good defense by Layden. No way he's going out on the floor against Kenny Wright.
Shot clock at 5. Smiley driving, had it stuffed by Layden. A great block. Evansville running the other way. Here's Sullivan. Wilson for 3. They left him alone, but he missed the shot. And a flat-footed board for Cartmill. Inside right. A block and a foul on Layden, and that is his 3rd. So 2 aces now, Hollander and Layden with 3 fouls apiece.
Now look at the difference between this sequence and the last one. Did you see how far Kenny Wright was down there on the block? He got to the block first and he forced Layden to get in behind him. And you've heard me say, Bob, number 1, don't ever give a man that kind of position on the floor. And secondly, if you do, don't let him get the basketball.
Evansville puts Rex Zimmermaker in the ball game as Illinois State's Kenny Wright prepares to shoot his ball club's first free throws of the game.
7:03 left on the clock, and they're about to get, if he cans it, their first free throw.
Kenny Wright, a 55% foul shooter. An athletic family in Indianapolis. Dad played football at Delaware State. Kenny Wright 2 for 2 at the line. He's got 6. A 5-point Evansville lead, and Illinois State comes with some pressure. Evansville beats it. They kick it out to Wilson. And now they regroup.
That was good recognition. Terrific recognition.
Sullivan pinned on the baseline. Out for the long shot. That's no good by Begley. Here's Hill. Long board. Muller runs it down. Gets it back. And 3 from the corner is good. He's hit 11 of his last 17 threes. Sullivan, helter-skelter, draws the foul. First on Jamar Smiley.
Boy, nobody plays harder and nobody's a better competitor than that young man. And boy, did he take off for that goal, or did he take off? I would have bet you my life it was going to be a player control foul, but he didn't.
Look for the Rawlings play of the game later in tonight's telecast. The winning shot, a big rebound, a key defensive move. We'll show it to you on the Rawlings play of the game.
I would say it's going to be rather obvious before this is all over, Bob, how the people off of Evansville's bench are going to respond when he's got Layden and Hollander on the bench with 3 fouls already.
Stuart Sullivan looking at a couple of free throws here. Yeah, well, the front end is no good. Sullivan, a 79% foul shooter, blows the front end. Here's Smiley driving. Cartmill quickly into the lane. Rainbows it up and off. Evansville quickly the other way. Richardson. Sullivan getting a screen from Wilson. They swing it around to Farley. Here's Richardson.
Nice pass.
And Sullivan lays it in. Great ball movement from Evansville. Muller for 3. Got it again. Back-to-back threes for Dan Muller, and the Redbirds are within 1. Wilson.
You watch the position Evansville people are in when they catch the basketball. I want to talk about that when we have a chance. Watch them receive the ball and be in a shooting position. Look.
Sullivan will fire and miss it with 3 on the shot clock. The Redbirds can get the lead back. And Cartmill to take it. Hit it. 3 straight threes for Illinois State. They've got a 2-point lead. Here's Farley. Morales with a miraculous tip.
I was going to mention about Cartmill, Bob. He's a 2-man, but he's been a point man now that Hansel got hurt, and he takes Smiley's place, but he and Smiley are in the game at the same time.
And Farley picks up his first foul. That will send Muller to the line.
See, so Cartmill can go back over to that 2 spot, and that guy can play.
32, Justin, his first. Evansville has 18 fouls.
Dan Muller, an outstanding foul shooter at 81%. Will step up now for Redbirds in a 28-all tie. Kenny Wright now coming back in for Leroy Watkins.
I was going to say about most of the time, I'm talking about Evansville, and even watch Illinois State. Their hands are in a position to catch the ball first and then to shoot it or to fake and shoot or take it to the goal. But, you know, they may not be good passing teams, but the one thing they usually are good receiving teams. And, boy, I watched them work so much in practice yesterday for Illinois State and today for Evansville. It's really nice to watch that.
A very sound, fundamental basketball team.
Absolutely.
Muller gets a breather after the 2 free throws to put Illinois State on top by a pair. Those free throws breaking a streak of 4 straight threes for Illinois State. Here's Richardson. Wilson fakes, gets a little closer. And Morales up over Wright, and it drops in for him. Emmy Morales has got 11. His season high is 13.
He does nothing but amaze me. There's a guy that was the 3rd-string center behind Layden and Sparks when the season started.
Pearson spin move. Tipped by Trotter, wouldn't go. Here comes Richardson. And again, Morales has it. And there's a travel. Ran into his own man that time.
You bet he did.
We've got a timeout on the floor here in Normal with a 30-30 tie on the board.
There's the young man that had 11 points and 8 rebounds against Indiana State the other night. Look at 3 white shirts right there, but that's what you call effort, getting yourself to the basketball. What did we say about the bench? Unbelievable. The fact that it's 15-3 right now.
With Hollander and Layden on that Evansville Pine with 3 fouls apiece. Muller. Wilson kicks it ahead to Richardson. Richardson's runner is good. The gun on the run for the Illinois junior. 32-30 Evansville.
See the matchups. Pearson and Cartmill are getting a lot of playing time, as you've noticed, and you're big on matchups. You talked about that last week. Oh, boy, a little communication problem, right?
Muller cut to the baseline. Yep. Cartmill thought he was coming out toward the wing to get the pass.
Ball handler, what do we say? Never thinks for the cutter? Never thinks for the cutter. The key is what the cutter does, and did you respond to it? That time it didn't happen.
32-30 Evansville. Intriguing. I'm sorry,
Bob. You go ahead.
As Wilson penetrates, the points are going to be hard to come by. Because these 2 teams are just so tough defensively. Here's a 3 for Richardson. And it might end up the loose ball or the transition basket. Somebody who can get an easy bucket or 2 may be the team that wins this game. Smiley. Nice tap out by Muller. And a little long with that 3. Evansville looking to improve on this 5-point lead.
see if they get the touches. I'll tell you, I want our viewers to watch. What do we got, a 20-second?
Yes, sir.
I want our viewers to watch the number of back screens and down screens that are being put on by both teams. If they get the view of that and they watch that, you'll know why these two teams are so tough to defend and why we keep talking about the fact that they are both leading the conference practically in defense, right?
We've got more basketball coming up for you. And it is the Dial Soap NCAA Women's Tournament Preview Show on March the 13th. We'll find out about Connecticut and Stanford and Tennessee and all the folks that get set for that NCAA Women's Tournament. Leandra Riley, Nancy Lieberman-Klein, Tracy Warren, Kathy Andruzzi. We'll take an in-depth look. The shooting so far, Evansville at 50%. These are the top two shooting teams in the conference.
And guess what they're coming off of? A game where they shot 37%, and a game where they shot 39%.
And Sullivan bangs home a three. His 35th three-pointer of the year makes it 38-30 Evansville. Here's Hill, and a foul on Morales, his second. Well, one of the clouds that's hovering over Evansville are the mounting foul difficulties. Still a minute 18 left in this first half. Hollander and Layden with three each. Now Morales, who's been so active, just picked up his second. So even though Jim Cruz Ball Club has an 8-point lead, as you look into that second half, things could get a little sticky.
Last time I looked, it's been a 40-minute game, and you better be ready to play 40 when you're playing against Illinois State.
That's why I like working with you, Gibbons. Boy, you got it nailed.
Right, huh?
Morales will go out with the two fouls as Hill continues at the line.
Yep. With a minute 18, I'd like that guy sitting on the bench so he doesn't get the third, and I'll burn as much time on each possession as I have to get into the locker room without anybody else getting in trouble.
Stuart Sullivan.
Let's see how much time they burn here unless they get an open lay-in. He fumbled and you can recover. He couldn't have dribbled again, but he fumbled and recovered.
Sullivan.
They're doing just what they ought to be doing.
Farley's runner, no good. And Wilson, the offensive rebound, dribbles out of traffic. On fresh 35. That's the game clock, you see. The shot clock hitting 25. So Richardson content to hold it on his hip. Once that man comes close enough to guard, the 5-second count begins.
New set. Got a 1-4 set now.
Richardson slides down. Here's Begley. Up and off. Begley gets his own rebound. And in traffic, travels. And will give it to Illinois State.
I mean, that is pretty good execution by Evansville right there, wouldn't you say? That is pretty good execution. They got the ball back twice and did everything Jim Cruz wanted them to do, and they didn't play out of control.
First place in the Valley regular season race, a half a game behind Bradley. Evansville, 10-1 run as they have a 7-point lead, but here comes Illinois State with a chance to get the final shot of the half. Smiley puts it on the deck, drives in. The high banker won't go. And Begley's rebound ends the half. So a very impressive half of basketball for the Evansville Aces. Jim Cruz, Marty Simmons and company heading to the locker room with a 7-point lead. It has been a most interesting Missouri Valley Conference regular season. Our good friend Jack Watkins was telling us before the ball game today when Illinois State fans witnessed one of the most memorable games in Redbird Arena history. February the 18th, 1995, ISU hosting Missouri Valley rivals Southern Illinois. The Salukis' Chris Carr scored an arena record 38, but gets stripped on this play by David Kaysen, who also set a Redbird Arena record with 14 assists. The contest goes not into one overtime, but two, and Illinois State pulls it out 104-98. Another thrilling chapter in the Redbird-Saluki rivalry. And no doubt another thrilling chapter in the Illinois State-Evansville rivalry tonight. A little payback on the minds of the Aces. They lost at home to this Redbird outfit, trying to return the favor tonight here in Normal. We're at the half. It's Evansville 38 and Illinois State 31. We'll be back. Illinois State 38-31 here at halftime. And in tonight's MVC feature, WMBD's Chris Curtis previews Arch Madness, which is coming up next month in St. Louis. In the 89-year history of the Missouri Valley Conference, few players can match the scoring and rebounding exploits of Wichita State's Xavier McDaniel. A two-time MVC Player of the Year, X left his mark on college basketball in 84-85. That season, he led the nation in scoring with a 27.2 point per game average, and in rebounding with nearly 15 boards per game. One of 4 players in the Valley to score 2,000 points and garner 1,000 rebounds in his career, the incomparable Xavier McDaniel. And welcome back to Redbird Arena in Normal, Illinois, with Evansville leading Illinois State 38-31 here at the half. No surprise, as we pointed out, Jim Gibbons, to see a road team enjoy success. But this Evansville ball club, you really have to compliment them. I thought their offensive execution in the first half was outstanding.
I think so. You talk about that 10-1 run late in the first half, and you talk about bench scoring 18-3. You're talking about a team that's getting a lot of production out of a lot of players. The other thing that surprised me a little, Bob, we talked about it early. Illinois State was getting the ball inside, weren't they? Getting a lot of touches. Those 4 big men that they have only gotten 8 shots in the first half, and I'll guarantee you not many more touches than that. I'm anxious to see if, when this second half starts, if Kevin's game plan is we've got to get that ball inside. They're in foul trouble now. Right. Grant you, Evansville is. I think they went away from what got them there to begin with, because remember I said to you, everything they're getting is inside. They didn't get it much more after that.
Let's take a look at our first half highlights. And for Illinois State, the 3-point shot bailed them out. They were down early. Dan Muller brought them back with some threes.
That's one guy you don't want to leave, and they left him. Richardson left him, and he left him just long enough that he was able to square up. And once he squares up, he's going to get it. Now, here's Morales, the young man that he really plays hard, limited ability, but my gosh, here's the tip-in, Bob, that you said was unbelievable. Look at falling backwards, he got that thing back in the basket because he put himself in a position to do it. Now, this is the one that we talked about and showed the replay. Watch the miss. We're going to see 3 white shirts down here surrounding that man. Nobody getting into his body, right? So he's wide open, so he decides I might as well go get it, put it back up in the glass, and he gets it. Now, Sullivan, we told you, their best percentage-wise 3-point shooter. Watch him square up. See him flare out? Look at, he flared right away from the defense, got the screen right there, squared himself up. Boy, he canned it. That's good execution.
Our first half statistics presented by Old El Paso. Look at the free throw shooting. Wanted to make this point to you, Jim. For Evansville, their opponents this year have attempted 61 more free throws and made 50 more. But tonight, the tables have been turned.
It's funny, and you wouldn't think it was going to be that way when Illinois State has got those big people inside, but there it is, and that's another thing that's kept them in the game.
And the point you made about the bench scoring, you see it right there, 18-3 Evansville.
That's very good production. And boy, it came right after we said they've got 2 guys sitting on the bench there, Hollander and Layden, and what are they going to do about it?
It was the Emmy Morales show in that first half. He leads Evansville in scoring with 11. He came to the arena tonight averaging 5 a game. Richardson had 9. Muller, the high man for Illinois State, with 8. Evansville 38, Illinois State 31. The second half. This Aces ball club coming off a big home win Wednesday over Indiana State. 73-52, trying to get another one on the road. It would be their 5th road win of the campaign in conference play.
Now look at, they've got no big man in the game, Bob. They have got the whole floor spread out against Illinois State now, and this is where they're really, look at all the people running around. This is where they are really tough to defend.
And Wilson lost control of the basketball.
And you know why he just didn't get a handle on it? You watch, every time they catch a ball, they get right into the catching position, but then they come down with that ball like they're going to fake and shoot. It just slipped right out of his hands.
Hill. Long rebound controlled. The quickness of Wilson got him that one. Here's Morales. and he traveled before he had it stolen.
It's amazing how that man can rebound at one end and get out and lead the transition so many times. I try to watch him, and then it just gets away from me, but he just amazes me how fast, how quickly he gets up and down the basketball floor.
Oh, what a night he is having. 38-31 Evansville. Antonio Cooper starting this second half for Illinois State.
There he is. He's got it. They let him get away.
Cooper missing one, and Morales there to clean it up.
That's exactly what they were doing against Drake the other night. Smiley was penetrating. The big guys were going right down into the corners, right where he was. He just popped it out, and they hit him.
Nice tip away from behind by Rico Hill.
See, that's good. That is good.
In and out, stays out. And a foul inside on Morales. With the ball going the other way, Emmy Morales picks up his third personal.
Boy, did you see Smiley? He knew exactly where Cooper was on the floor. Now watch, he's not going to go for that drive. He knew exactly where Coop was, and Coop got there at the time that Smiley wanted him to get there, and boy, he just didn't can it. That's two wide open shots he's missed, and he doesn't do that very often, especially at home. Nice hands.
And it's out of bounds to Evansville.
Oh, nice hands. Boy, how many times we talk about hands, because I know you play it with the feet, but you got to supplement that foot movement with the hand action, and boy, that was terrific.
Wilson gets his ball club the basketball back, and now Richardson handles it out front. 38-31 Evansville. 2 minutes into the second half, neither team has scored.
Neither Hill or Leroy Watkins in the game for Illinois State. I think it's obvious that Kevin's going with a smaller lineup, right, Bob, for matchups?
Yeah, and maybe a little offensive firepower from the perimeter.
Well, he needs it from Cooper. Well, you don't want to foul right now.
And the shot clock, oh, he just beat the buzzer. Smiley all the way through to the baseline. Now they lob it into Muller as he was fighting with Farley for position, and Justin picks up the personal.
Yeah, just a step too late. And he was going to front him, and he realized he didn't have any weak side help. Now watch Muller. He's holding him off. He's got him. He screens him away, but he's got no weak side help, and you can't do that. You got to stay in back of that guy if you're not going to get any. Oh, nice move by Sullivan with the arm out in the passing lane. Boy, he's chasing Cooper. That much we can see, can't we?
Smiley. Here's Wilson. Last touch by Trotter. And again, the quick hand to Wilson.
God, that is wonderful, Bob, because on that whole possession, every time that Illinois State went to make a pass, somebody from Evansville had a hand in the passing lane, right?
It is the one characteristic of Jim Crew's clubs. They are so well drilled in these particular fundamentals. Farley puts it in. If you watch an Evansville practice, this is the way it goes for like 2 hours every day. They work on the offense, then they work on the defense. And they come up with another loose ball. Kevin Stallings immediately to get Cardmill in the ball game. Here's Morales, a little too strong that time, but Wilson is there to run it down. And all the loose balls going Evansville's way at this time. Farley banks it in. 40-33, Aces.
Everything that's happened in the first few minutes, the first 4 minutes, has been to Evansville advantage, but they've made it that way because of their quickness and you're right, they're getting every loose ball.
Smiley just throws it up and off, and there's a blocking foul. And this one will be on Sullivan. 42-31 is the correct score. We had it right. It was wrong inside the arena here.
Evansville foul on number 10, Stuart Sullivan, his first.
Tell you, right now, Bob, I sense that Evansville is not letting Illinois State get a whole lot out of its half-court offense. Do you agree?
Yes, I do agree with you. And I think it's been the overplay that has been the key to it. Hasn't been a straight-up defense. It's been the overplay.
They have stepped out into that passing lane. I want to tell you, they play the best principles of the man, which is pressure on the ball. Then they play the best principle of the zone, which is that weak side help. And then they put the two of those things together. and they attack what you do best, and then they simply neutralize it. That's what they do to you. And how and where the pressure points are depends on the opponent and their players, and they just simply adjust it from game to game.
Smiley goes 1 for 2 at the line, but Illinois State gets another opportunity. Driving up and off. Tough shot inside. Evansville's Richardson rebounds.
I've never seen a team get more missed rebounds on free throws than Illinois State.
Here's Farley for 2. Justin in double figures with 11. 44-32 Illinois State. And a hand check coming up on the Aces. But keep in mind, as Richardson picks up his first, these fouls continue to mount. That is the 15th foul on Evansville this half. No team fouls on the Redbirds. 15:56 left. Evansville by a dozen. Look at the second half shooting numbers, Jim Gibbons. You'll see Illinois State at 0 for 4. Antonio Cooper started the second half, and no question, Kevin wanted to get some three-point shooting going, but Coops had as cold a half as you could have.
You bet, and he has had wide open looks at the basket. It's not like there was a hand in his face. He's 0 of 4 from three-point range and 0 of 5 for the game.
Morales, another rebound. Boy, he's having a career night tonight. 44-32 Evansville. And I will offer you this, Mr. Gibbons. Illinois State better watch it here, because if Illinois State gets a huge lead with the flavor of this game, I know they were up 13 in Evansville, but given the flavor of this game and as well as Evansville's playing defensively tonight, it'll be tough for Illinois State to put a big run together. And Muller, is it a blocking foul? Yes. Dan Muller picks up number 3.
It just seems, I'm trying to react to what you just said, Bob, and it just seems that Illinois State, I see if you agree with it. I think they're a step behind Evansville this whole game. I'm not saying that they're not playing hard. I'm just saying they're a step behind. And Kevin's trying to find something to turn them around, and he can't find anybody.
Trotter, maybe. Nope, air ball. And Muller, that ball hit the support. It should have gone out of bounds. Illinois State gets a break.
Look at Jim Cruz. Look at Jim Cruz. It hit from behind. It didn't hit the side. It hit from behind, and that was out of bounds.
Big break for the Redbirds that time. The foul is going to go on Morales, and that is going to be his 4th. Watch Muller.
Boy, that's a big call. That is an absolutely big call. Just so our viewers will understand, if it hits the side or it rolls along the top, that is in play. The back is not.
44-32.
See, they can't find anybody on the floor to get on fire. Nobody has gotten on fire for Illinois State.
Cartfield bangs one in. He's got 5. That is the first second half field goal for Illinois State. Down 10. Stepped out of bounds.
Had the right idea, didn't he? Just didn't know where he was in terms of the end line, and that's too bad because he made a pretty doggone good move. But I'm saying Evansville has got to take its time on each possession. Look at the turnovers.
And Morales just went to the bench with those 4 personals. Layden's back in the ball game for Evansville. Here's Smiley on a drive, pulls up, and misses. And Wilson the rebound. Let's see if the Aces do indeed have that offensive patience.
Now is when you look for those touches, and you get those back screens, and then you read everything. Well, let's see.
Now Wilson.
Oh, Jim, I don't think Jim liked that.
Trotter, great block by Layden. Still loose on the floor. They're still fighting for it in a hell ball.
What a great block. That is 2 blocks in this game. One in the first half by Layden, I believe, in this one. Right on top of the ball, and that is absolutely great defense. That's Layden again. Boy, at each end and each half, that has been really decent.
Mo Trotter to trigger.
See, he does give them that inside presence, and they missed that when he was out and when Sparks is out.
Muller will shoot 2.
Jeff isn't going to score much, but he's going to play some defense, and he's going to set some screens, and he's going to rebound, and he's going to play very hard because he's going to give them that senior presence on the basketball floor.
Justin Farley with his 3rd foul sends Dan Muller to the line, where tonight he's 2 out of 2.
When I say senior now, I know the young man is only a junior, but when you consider that about only 3 of the players on the Evansville team played last year, and they have all those young bodies. Now, you look across the floor, I think 9 to 12 in Illinois State are freshmen or sophomores, so you've got 2 clubs right here that are really young. The thing that hurt Evansville so much, Bob, as we know, are the injuries. And what does it do? It can't let you put a team together, and the players can't get to know one another because they're so young, and then the injuries.
If the injuries occur prior to October the 15th, that's one thing.
You bet.
But once they occur during the season, it changes everything. You can adjust if you know what the hand you're dealt early on.
And they can't get used to each other when you run people in and out, and then if somebody gets hurt, and you start all over again.
Clock at 7. 6. Around to Richardson. A little daylight. That one was smothered. Beautiful block by Cartmill. As is often the case, a team will get back into a ball game with its defense. And Illinois State trying to convert off the block.
Boy, Trotter's got a good matchup. He planted inside, and they never got him the ball because Richardson was guarding him.
And now they say it's a 3. A late call, but it is a 3 for Mo Trotter, 44-38.
Evansville, the last 3 or 4 possessions, Bob, have gotten nothing out of their half-court offense. They're really struggling.
Now Smiley on the run to the bucket. Wright took it out of bounds, and the ball belongs to Evansville.
Interesting. Watch the defense. Coming out right here, you're going to see it. The overplay, bang, nice. Got the hand up, the left arm, which is exactly the one he should have gotten up. If you get the other one up, then you got the body contact, and then good defense at the other end by Evansville.
Chris Hollander back in now for the Aces. Here's Sullivan. That one was blocked by 5'11" Jamar Smiley, and Trotter ahead. The big Evansville lead is evaporated.
I'll tell you, Illinois State has done exactly what you said. They've picked it up on the defensive end.
Layden, and that's a travel. A timeout at Redbird Arena, and Illinois State is right back in it. Evansville 44, Illinois State 40, and 11:57 remaining in our second half. Jim Gibbons, we talked about the Illinois State defense, and you'll see it here.
Watch the hands. That is a terrific block. People thought he got a part of the arm. He didn't. Look at Maurer with the head up. And Kevin Stallings saw Trotter way down there, and he jumped right in the air so that Muller would see him, and he kept waving down to the other end. They got it to the big man, and they got the crowd back in the game.
An 8-0 run over the last 3 minutes. And Illinois State looking to add to it, but some good hands by Layden to come up with a steal.
Let's see what happens here, Bob. I think out of about the last 5 possessions, Evansville has not even gotten a shot at the basket. I don't mean they haven't scored. They haven't gotten a shot.
Turnovers, blocks. Sullivan trying to find a seam. The shot clock at 10.
See, they're not getting anything. They've got no movement right now. Nobody trying to help. There's another one. See, that's the one, and that's the one guy you don't want with the basketball right in that position right there. They just simply quit moving, and they kept setting screens and picks, and they got Layden with the ball, and that's not his job on the basketball floor. You have to know your role. That's not his role. I'll tell you, the smaller lineup that Kevin Stallings has been using has been effective. His matchups are much better, and they're playing much better basketball.
Evansville has turned it over 4 times in its last 6 possessions.
You know, if I'm Illinois State, I'm going to break down their defense right now. I'm not going to be in any hurry at all. Everything's going our way.
Cartmill buries a three.
Well, when you get a 26% three-point shooter to start hitting, and they're getting points out of that game because he's only averaging 3 points coming in.
44-43. The Evansville lead is 1. Layden turns, fires, and misses.
Everybody fell back defensively. There wasn't a soul close to the basket. That shot had to go in or they were out of it.
Not within 15 feet. Trotter. And through the legs of Muller out of bounds.
Mo knew better than that. Not many good things are going to happen when you leave your feet unless you're going to shoot the basketball. He left his feet. His intention wasn't to shoot it, and then he committed himself, and he was going to come down and get a travel. He tried, no spacing, a turnover.
And another travel for Layden. My goodness. 44-43. The Evansville lead is 1, and again the Redbirds come down with a chance to take the lead.
I'll tell you, you turn the ball over that much, my friend, you're really putting your basketball team at a disadvantage, but nobody plays harder than that young man. He just hasn't been able to put the ball down before he started moving.
Smiley driving, and Layden stuffed that one.
What great rotation. What great rotation by Richardson.
So he was able to help his team out with the good defense and get the ball back. Morales is going to check in for Evansville when time allows. And Smiley overplayed. It was last touched by Richardson.
I want to tell you, they have taken Evansville so out of their offense, Bob, that I'm telling you now, Evansville, the last 5 minutes, look at the last touch, good call by Ron Grissom. Bob, they haven't even gotten a look at the basket, have they? They have not been able to get a look.
Trotter. And out of bounds. It belongs to Illinois State with 9:04 to play. The last time that Illinois State had the lead was way back in the first half at 30-28. We've got 9:04 remaining. Trotter on the cut, and Illinois State lead.
Whoa.
Pretty play.
Two screens right there, and they got him the ball at the right time.
A three for Sullivan won't go. He gets it back and gets fouled. Hey, reminder, friends, to look for the Rawlings play of the game later in tonight's telecast. The winning shot, a big rebound, a key defensive move. We'll show it to you on the Rawlings play of the game. Evansville has turned it over, Jim, 9 times in this second half.
Well, Layden's turned it over about 5, and I don't mean to be picking on him, but boy, that's tough. See, they're just not in any kind of a rhythm, and boy, give Illinois State credit. They are really up in their numbers and really making them work.
Inside Morales. He was the big man in the first half. This one was blocked, and Illinois State coming 3-on-3. Smiley kicks it out to Trotter. Evansville down 1. Richardson off the dribble. Muller for 3.
22nd he's going to get. Bob, you can't start trading baskets with Illinois State right now because they're in a rhythm. They found their touch. They're red hot. Evansville comes down. The worst thing you can do is trying to have the execution they had on that last possession.
Here's Richardson, and this came with about 30 seconds on the shot clock. Yeah, 28.
Didn't even hit. Didn't even come close. Now, here's the guy that's kind of been silent, but you know darn well he can it. Look at, he's wide open. Nice form on that shot. We could see it up on top. That's really terrific. But that club has caught fire right now, and Evansville has got to try to find some way to regroup because Illinois State has them back on their heels now, Bob, the same as they had them on their heels in the first 20 minutes.
And you talked early about the transition three. And Illinois State has had a couple of those in the 16-0 run. It was 44-32 Evansville at 15:56. And Trotter picks up the personal. It's his third.
See, that showed me something right there, because the one thing is if you're not getting anything out of your offense out on the floor, you better be getting something off of it by trying to create and drive and penetrate, and that's a good head and shoulder fake by Farley. Trotter went for it. He leans in a little bit, but he forced the contact, finished the shot, and that's what you've got to do. If you can't get it any other way, you got to get it while the clock stops and get something up on that glass and get it at the free throw line.
That free throw by Justin Farley ends a drought of 8 minutes and 18 seconds for Evansville. And we've got a timeout on the floor here in Normal, Illinois. 7:41 to play. The Birds by 2.
Stallings' philosophy, because he feels it's not a game to be played against the opponent or the score. He said the game is to be played by each possession, whether on offense or defense, and that's exactly what they've done in the second half for about 13 minutes. Each possession on offense and defense.
They are to be valued. Muller, nice runner on the baseline. Morales the rebound. Farley for three.
Tell you one thing, they aren't going to get any second and third efforts, are they?
And a nice reach in by Farley. That's a 2-on-1 the other way. And a strip by Muller. He keeps it in bounds. And a foul called on Illinois State. Boy, some great heads-up hustle by Dan Muller.
That was absolutely terrific, because now they've got a 2-on-1. You think it's going to be a breakaway. Nice hands right there. He jumped back in bounds. Had the presence of mind, Bob, not to hit that from out of bounds.
Number 42, Rico Hill.
3 fouls on Smiley. Evansville ball out of bounds. Kenny Wright takes a seat. Rico Hill back in. They swing it to Richardson.
Hill is back in. Watkins, you know, had an ankle injury in their game last Wednesday, Bob, so that may be one of the reasons that he's not playing a lot of minutes.
And the foul called on Cartmill.
Fouls on 24, Kyle Cartmill, his first. The Birds now have 5 team fouls.
This will be a shooting foul for Justin Farley. And really, this has been the kid who's done all the scoring here for Evansville in the second half. No one else has scored, and the Aces have, but let's see, they had 38 at the break, so they've got 8 points in the second half. Farley's got them all.
Kind of amazing, isn't it? A 16-0 run in 8 minutes and 18 seconds.
That Evansville did not score. You're right. And yet, they've still got 6:43 left, Jim. And with this free throw, they've got a chance to tie it. So they had their bad time, and still an opportunity left for them to win this basketball game.
That's exactly the point, and that's what's so incredible about it. You think it'd be blowout city about that time.
I think the big thing is if Morales picks up his 5th foul. He's working with 4. He got out of the way that time. Farley's going to get this foul. If Evansville loses Morales, I think this game changes dramatically.
And let's just take a look. You'll find some coaches that'll play to that. You'll find others that say, no way, I'm going to change my game plan or my offense to try to get somebody in foul trouble. We'll see what happens. We'll take it as it comes. So let's just take a look and see if we sense anything.
Dan Muller, 3 of 4 at the line, making 4 of 5. He scored 13 tonight. And congratulations to Dan, named to the MVC's first team All-Academic, 3.78 in management. 50-48. Illinois State lead is 2, 6:24 remaining. Farley, little floater goes in. 17-12 in the second half for Farley. He's pitched to this Aces team on his back and carrying him to the finish line. Muller, one hands one.
The matchups for both teams in this game right now, I think, are pretty good. Look at Morales.
And it taken away this time. Illinois State with Smiley at the helm. Out to Trotter. Got it. His third three tonight. Pretty big swing. It looked like Morales was going to get an easy bucket.
You bet. That's a big turnaround right there. And that was good hands again. And I think it was Cartmill that did it.
A wild shot by Wilson, but there's Morales again. 53-52.
Tell you use your energy now. For both teams, you better use it on defense.
This one pops out on Trotter.
You're going to rest. You better rest on offense.
And a steal. 3-on-3 the other way. Smiley driving and scoring. Jamar with 5, and Jim Cruz wants to talk about it. A ton of turnovers in the second half for Evansville, and Illinois State has forged a 3-point lead. About Dan Muller making the first team All-Academic. Congratulations also to these gentlemen and Kareem Richardson of Evansville.
Well, they had 5 people, Bob, that they nominated for that team. They had 5 of them with 3.0 or better GPAs.
The Aces did,
you
yes.
bet.
55-52. Let's see what Evansville can do out of the timeout. A screen for Wilson, and he misses the 3. Morales the rebound, and he's fouled by Wright. Now keep in mind, the young Spaniard is playing with 4 personals.
Tell you, that's one of the few looks that Wilson has got in the second half. One of the few looks he's gotten. And this is where it comes down to, boy, you've got to protect that basketball, and that's why Jim Cruz took that timeout. They were just getting careless with that basketball and making passes they shouldn't have been making because, you know, Bob, you hear me say it, you've got to take the ball to the action, and they've not been doing that, but you better start protecting the ball, and you better start making those free throws.
Evansville was on a pace to commit 20 second-half turnovers. They have 11 in this half, and still 5 minutes to play.
That is unbelievable. 11 and still to be within 2 points. And as you said, the scoring drought and the run by ISU. It is amazing.
Morales goes 1 for 2, tipped out by Muller. The ball belongs to Evansville.
Give Farley the credit for that. They didn't squeeze that young man enough, and he got himself in a position to force that action right there.
Jim, how about Emmy Morales tonight? 14 points, 11 rebounds. And he's got it again. Goes baseline. A half a dozen fakes, and he scores. A career best for Morales was 16. Muller off the screen. Morales bottled up that play.
Somebody better get Trotter's numbers, and that's Wilson. But look at, oh boy, did Trotter come off a nice pick, and they didn't get him the ball.
9 seconds, 8 on the shot clock. Smiley penetrates in the lane, throws it up and in. 7 for Jamar Smiley, 57-55. Jim Cruz calls the play from the bench.
Yeah, they're just switching on Wilson. Every time he comes from down in the corner and comes out, Smiley is switching right onto him.
Farley throws it away. Smiley out to Muller. Cartmill now back to Smiley.
Isn't it amazing? Evansville has 3 freshmen on the floor right now.
Kenny Wright. Up and short. Morales another rebound. 57-55. Evansville trailing by 2, just under 3 to go. Here's Farley driving and a push on Muller. And that for Dan is his 4th. One of the key cogs for Illinois State tonight with 14 points and 11 rebounds. And Muller with 2:57 left with his 4th. He'll have to, well, I say he'll have to come out of the game, but they're going to take instead Wright out, leave Muller in, and bring back Rico Hill.
Justin Farley to the free throw line for Evansville.
Foul problem is beginning to become a big factor, and again, Morales, he's been playing with 4 fouls for quite some time.
Well, I'll tell you right now, with only 2 minutes and 57 seconds, even if you've got 4, Bob, you can't worry about that right now. You've got to play every second of the last 2 minutes and 57 and take your chances.
Farley ties the game, 2 for 2 at the line. 19 tonight for Justin. Tie ball game. Trotter pushes it in. Boy, what a shot.
That is big time. And it's not bad defense either by Marcus Wilson. He couldn't have played much better defense.
59-57. Here's Richardson. Farley just throws it up and off.
Wasted opportunity there, Bob. That's what happens when you've got 3 freshmen on the floor. You got 2 juniors and 3 freshmen on the floor for Evansville.
He'll score it, and Morales is out of the game.
And guess what? Talk about the freshman, because you're going to look at another one who's going to be a future star in this league right there. Morales just didn't get him in the position he wanted him in, didn't get the hands up in the air, and Rico Hill took advantage of it. And this young man, I've watched him practice and playing up top. He has a marvelous touch, and that's a pretty good shot right there.
Morales goes out with just a tremendous night. 12 rebounds to go along with those 16 points. Now Rico Hill, one of the top 5 signees in the Missouri Valley, puts it home, his 8th point, 62-57. And we have maybe just witnessed the key swing of this game. Richardson's runner rolls in. 11 for Kareem, 62-59. Now Evansville needs a defensive stop.
Good switch on to Trotter by Sullivan. But that's a good move and a good post up by Mo.
And they nearly come up with a steal. Shot clock continues to run. Smiley faking, driving in traffic, dumps it low. Hill puts it in. Rico with 10.
That's why the guy had 14 assists twice in the last two out of their last 3 games. He had 14 against Drake the other night. He's amazing when he does that.
They zip it inside and a travel. Another Evansville second half turnover with 1:09 to play. And Evansville is going to take another timeout. It's a 5-point ball game. The Redbirds in front. And Illinois State with the ball when we come back. State with a 5-point lead and the ball with 1:09 to play. When you talk about crunch time, Jim Gibbons, that man right there, Mo Trotter, has to date hit the biggest shot of this ball game. Broke the 59-all tie with that push shot in the lane with good defense that you pointed out.
You bet.
And Evansville has been unable to get Marcus Wilson going. He does not have a field goal in this game.
He has 4 points in this basketball game and none in the second half. He's their leading scorer, and boy, you've got to get something out of it, but Illinois State has really turned him down.
If Farley could have maintained the pressure just a second longer without fouling, Hollander was coming in from behind.
And that's something that Mo Trotter should know better. He's a senior. He can't afford to do that, especially when you stop at the 10-second line, which gives them another defender. He turned his back on the action. He had no one to release to, and you're right. 1 more second, and that's a turnover with 2 people going the other way.
Justin Farley had 14 of his 19 in the second half. The second ace to disqualify on fouls. Jamar Smiley will be going to the line. He scored 7 tonight. Or check it, Mo Trotter is going to the line. Looking for 20 points, and it's short. But batted out into the hands of Sullivan. Evansville's got life. They need a 3, and Wilson is way short with it. And Smiley is fouled. Well, Evansville needed the 3. They went to their man, Marcus Wilson, but he could not come up with it.
Didn't come up with it. Did you watch him shoot it? And I know you did, Bob. He got nothing into that shot, did he? There was no leg action in it. I don't know whether he's tired, because when you play for Evansville, boy, you play as hard on that defensive end, and sometimes you expend so much time or so much energy defensively, it hurts you on offense. He got nothing into that shot.
Smiley short with a foul shot.
Shades of last week. There's a young man that had made 10 of 10 last week and then missed those 2 free throws, the game Bob and I were doing. Nicer young man you're not going to meet.
But the key to it, Jim, it keeps it a 2-possession game. It's only a 6-point lead for Illinois State. Hollander faking. Puts it up. Count it, and a foul. My goodness. The worst thing that could happen to Illinois State, stopping the clock and fouling.
Look at Kevin Stallings, because that's right. That was a desperation shot right there. Look at the defenders coming over. He was all off balance, but he had the presence of mind to get rid of that thing. He canned it. Now they've got a chance. Now 34 ticks still left on that clock, so you don't have to foul right away. It's not a desperation right now, right?
Exactly. And if Hollander can hit this foul shot, they can set up the press.
You bet.
Cooper will come in.
I'm not sure they're going to do that against Smiley, but we'll wait and see what happens. There goes a young man that has played very good minutes tonight. They got really good minutes out of Kyle Cartmill.
And Hollander hits it.
You're right. Look at it.
They do press,
You
and
bet.
here comes Smiley, and he turns it into a 3-on-1, and now he's fouled. The personal goes against Sullivan, his second.
The one thing the young man wasn't going to do was throw that basketball away, but he had 2 people way out in front of him, but they were on the other side of the floor, and he thought, I'll take my chances. They're going to have to come get me and foul me and stop the clock, which is exactly what they wanted to do, and that's what happened.
65-62, and Smiley at the line, and it's way short. So again, Evansville has an opportunity to knife into
this
it.
one, Bob, I think Evansville comes down and drives to that basket. You don't fire a wild 3-pointer because you need 2 possessions.
Right.
You make that 2, you drive and let them foul you, and then stop that clock and then put the pressure on again.
See, they're thinking 3, but
right now they are.
Sullivan is fouled by Smiley, and he's got 3 foul shots coming. Can you believe it?
Kevin Stallings didn't know it. I mean, he didn't realize that's what happened. Watch. Exactly what we said earlier in the first half. They were forcing the 3, which they didn't need, but it was obvious that's what they were going at. Watch him lean in now. Boy, that is, oh, man. That's hard to believe that happened.
This is the second time tonight that Evansville has an opportunity to hit 3 free throws.
Oh, man, just playing right into their hands, because you said it before. Now they're going to put the press on. And
Sullivan misses.
The one thing they've got to do is keep that basketball out of certain people's hands. They've got to know who those 4 free throw shooters are.
66-63. And it's good. Now they've got Smiley covered, and Muller didn't want to give it to anybody else, so he called the 22nd timeout. It's a 20 for Illinois State with 18.6 remaining. Evansville, that's the second time that they've put up that press. The first time, Evansville allowed Smiley to get the basketball. This time they did not.
That's the point. That's exactly the point I was going to make. I know Smiley has been having trouble with the free throws, but you cannot let him get that basketball in that situation, I don't think, Bob, and let him just burn time off that clock. Or if you can't get to him and he dribbles the length of the floor, now you've taken yourself right out of any chance that you have. They did exactly what they should have. And let's see if Illinois State has the same kind of problem. Is this deja vu or what? As Yogi would say, is it deja vu all over again? Right. But last week, Trotter had the ball out of bounds twice, and they burned 2 timeouts because they couldn't get it in against Southern Illinois.
Now it is Smiley to trigger. Look for him, and he looks again and calls another timeout.
Exact same thing that happened last week.
Tune in for the thrilling conclusion. 18.6 left. We'll be back. Bob Rathman with Jim Gibbons. And James, the question before the house here, can Illinois State get it inbounds?
Well, the one thing right now is I can guarantee you that Evansville knows the people on the floor that are the poorest free throw shooters on Illinois State. Now, you're looking for the 5-second count again. Maybe you're going to try to get a charge, but boy, if they get it in, you've got to stop that clock. Oh.
And there's the foul on Wilson.
The reason I said oh is, boy, I was waiting to see if Eric Harmon was going to do anything about that, because that was almost more than a foul.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Borderline. Borderline, that's for sure. Kurt Begley coming in for Quinn.
Isn't it amazing, Bob, that I don't know how many of our viewers were tuned in last Sunday, but this is almost with the exact amount of time left on the clock. This same young man who had hit 10 of 10 walking to the free throw line again to shoot 2 more.
He's got the first one. Now the big one. This would give the Redbirds a 4-point lead and make it again a 2-possession game. And only 16 seconds left. So this week he hits him. 68-64. And again, Evansville thinking 3, but they just got to drive it hard to the bucket. Richardson puts it in. Timeout, Evansville.
Exactly what they should have done.
So Evansville uses its final timeout, and Illinois State with the ball and 8.3 seconds to work with. 2-point game.
Make him pass that ball long towards their front court.
He fakes the long shot, now plays it into Trotter, and Quinn fouls him.
You're looking at a pretty good free throw shooter in the Mo, man, because he's at 77%, and he has been up to that line 109 times. The amazing thing is, you know who's been to the line the most times for that team, and you and I talked about it this afternoon. That's Jamar Smiley, 113 times coming into this game.
Trotter sitting on 19 points. His bucket to break a 59-all tie still looms very large here in Normal tonight.
25 points the other night against Drake. All of them in the second half, if you can believe it.
That gives Mo Trotter 20 tonight. And again, a big toss. He's got it. And Illinois State leads by 4. Evansville running out of time. 4-3. Richardson for 3. Got it. The clock stops. It's a 1-point game. Illinois State looks. It is going to be thrown out to midcourt. Cartmill has it, and that's the ball game. Boy, Evansville got the 3 from Richardson, but as it turned out, too little too late. A 1-point win for Illinois State as they tie Bradley for first in the Valley. Here's a look at Mo Trotter, the player of the game, sponsored by Champion. And Trotter ended up with 21 and a big shot in the lane to win it. And a look now at our Rawlings play of the game. The contest was tied at 59. And the ball ends up in the hands of number 3, and he knows what to do with it.
Boy, and that wasn't bad defense either right there, Bob, but that's a great one-on-one move.